Hello and welcome to the new video. Today we're going to take a look at the top 10 teams with a buffed Pokemon for the Open Great League Season 19 this time around. We're going to have 10 teams here around the buffed ones, which are not quite a lot of them. Some of them are, well, we have to see. We don't actually know at this point currently the Swift energy stat, which kind of makes it a little bit difficult to predict. But if Swift is going to be good, we have like 3 teams for this as well here in today. If you enjoy this type of videos, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. But anyway, let's move on into the meta. Taking a look now at the meta here, we're going to see some Pokemon that got buffed. For example, the Pokemon that get like Seed Bomb, where we see the Trevenant at rank 40. We're going to have Pokemon like Chestnut getting the move Thunder Punch, which it will never use because it doesn't make sense. Scrafty at least got like Thunder Punch here. We're going to have Wigglytuff not running the actual move of Swift because here it's currently 40 energy and apparently it has better results with Disarming Voice if that would be the case. Otherwise here, Whimsicott going to be kind of better. More Shadows actually in here, which is kind of hilarious. But we're going to see Pokemon like Clefable. Also, again, doesn't really run the move Swift because if it's 35 energy, it would be very good. If it's 40 energy, it is a little bit trickier to run. But yeah, again, not a lot really changed here. Typhlosion got definitely a little bit of a buff while getting Thunder Punch, going to be the better move to go for it. Also here, actually, Ursaring is kind of the only Swift user that actually really wants to use it with 40 energy. But yeah, that's kind of it for this one. We're going to see Pokemon like Lantern kind of disappearing with Spark only being rank 68 is kind of interesting. But also the Pokemon that learned Scald kind of got a little bit of a nerf. For example, also something like the Whiscash or Poliwrath getting a little bit of a nerf with that one. Not a huge one for sure. We don't really know what it's exactly going to be in terms of stats. Here it's currently 30% chance of debuffing the opponents that are 50. But yeah, that's going to be it for this meta review real quick, and let's move on to the next one. Taking a look now at team number 1, we're going to have an Incinerate user with Typhlosion here. Typhlosion is a Shadow variant with Thunder Punch, looks like a lot of fun to play in this current meta. Here we're going to use it as a closer. We're going to have an elite the Mandibuzz, the Sazop of Skeledirge. But what I have to say here, I maybe even find it a little bit better to play Superior as a lead and the Feraligatr as Sazop, and there are reasons for this, and those reasons I'm going to talk about now. We're going to have here some Pokemon that are going to be very good for this team. Like in general, this team is still very decent with Mandibuzz as well. But I feel like, especially against a Bastion, you're going to have a little bit of a better play with Superior as well as with the Sazop of Feraligatr. And so you would have a little bit more play against this. You would have a little bit more play against Azumarill, which can be a little bit of an issue if you run this team like this. But yeah, like this would be still like different kind of options of a team again. But personally, I would maybe even go for Superior over the lead and then like the Feraligatr over the Sazop, but I still kind of want to have a double fire line here. But anyway, Incinerate Typhlosion was like one of the bigger buffs here for this season and still not going to be top meta, but at least it has some play, so that is going to be some fun to play as well. And we can move on to team number 2. Going to be around the Seed Bomb buff for the Trevenant. Also, we're going to have here the Water Gun variant of Lantern now, as the other variant of Spark is mostly not going to have as much play anymore. It is still kind of a solid one, but it's just not as good as it was before. As you can see here, this team is amazing. Like, this team is just literally destroying everything. There is no hard answer, I guess, for this team that is going to be insanely difficult to deal with. I guess you could argue other Trevenants are difficult to deal with, which definitely is a case here, or Lickitung, but then again, if you're worried about those, like, you're gonna have a better matchup if you run Bastion in the lead as well, so yeah, this team is very likely one of the best teams that you can use this season as well. I feel like Trevenant is going to have a lot of play. Also for like the regional formats and whatever. I feel like Trevenant might be even having it into winning worlds. I could actually see this. But yeah, I feel like Trevenant is going to be getting a little bit of a revival there. So that's going to be kind of interesting. And this team is definitely very good. It's also with the Bastion in the lead, a team that I showcased quite often already as like one of my favorite teams to use. Back in the day, there was still the Sazop of the Medicham. Now, of course, Annihilate is a little bit of a better one there. Next one, we're going to have the Shadow Claw variant of Typhlosion this time around. So this is going to be a little bit of a different kind of way of playing. I already talked about in different videos towards the new season that Typhlosion has like 2 different kind of sets, either Shadow Claw or the Incinerate. Both of them are kind of cool. Both of them are kind of different, as you're going to see here a little bit as well. Like, we have some different matchups that you can now win. For example, the Mantine matchup is going to be a little bit more fun, and you can bait out those Pokemon, which is kind of cool. You're going to just have a little bit more neutral play against Pokemon that you don't really want to face as a Fire-type Pokemon, which is kind of cool. So, for example, you're going to have the lead of Poliwrath, one of the hardest answers to the Feraligatr. You want to swap out. You're going to swap onto your Fire-type Typhlosion. They're going to go into their Feraligatr. You have a fast move advantage, you have a neutral fast move, and you're going to have super effective Thunder Punch against them. You should be able to win this all the time in the 2-shield scenario. And so, this Pokemon has quite a lot of potential with Shadow Claw as well. I feel like Incinerate is cooler to play just because it just burns down everything, but Shadow Claw definitely has quite some potential for this Pokemon. In the back here, Cresselia is most likely ideal. Here's the thing as well, yeah, like it is a little bit difficult to run the Magnezone with some of the leads here. For example, if you go for the Chestnut in the lead, you're going to struggle a little bit against something like a Fire-type Pokemon if you have Magnezone in the back. But also, if you're going to run the Poliwrath in the lead, you might struggle a little bit with your backline if you go for the Magnezone with something like an Annihilate. So I would really go for the Magnezone in the back if you run Annihilate in the lead here for this team. That's kind of the way to go. Otherwise, Cresselia is just like way better to cover up weaknesses, for example, against something like the Annihilate itself. So yeah, definitely still a very solid line, as you can see here. Definitely something that I might actually want to try out myself as well. And yeah, let's move on to the team number 4. Thunder Punch on Scrafty. I already made a video about this, talking a little bit about if this is going to be better or not, and I was not too sure about it, but we can still take a look at this one here. Again, we have different kind of options for different kind of positions, other than a Scrafty, of course, because this team is built around Scrafty. Thunder Punch Scrafty is actually quite decent in like something like a 2-shield scenario. You have now play against Pokemon like Mantine, like Scrafty. You're going to have just a little bit better play against those Pokemon. If it's going to be better at the end of the day, not too sure, but it is still going to be an interesting addition to the meta. Again, like everything at Thunder Punch this season, which is kind of mad, but anyway, we're going to see here in the lead, Mantine is going to be a decent option for this team. You can also go for the other two, which would help you out a little bit more against a Pokemon like the Carbink, which can be an issue otherwise, but like it's still going to be fine if you run something like a Cresselia or the Lantern in the lead. All of those are going to be fine. Again, Lantern is kind of wanting to run Water Gun now this season over the fast move of Spark, which is kind of cool, which I like as a change. Finally, this happened. But yeah, this team definitely still looks kind of solid. I would like to have like a Poison Double Dark line, but I feel like Poison type Pokemon are just too bad currently. I guess you could also go for something like the Clodsire in the lead for this team. I think that would actually also still work out. So yeah, might be also a way of playing this one. Anyway, next one, we're going to have here Lokix with Counter, a new Pokemon as well with a decent fast move finally over Bugbuzz. Bugbuzz? Bugbite, I think it is. But we're going to have here the Stays Up of Gligar, or again the Feraligatr, and in the back the Runerigas. You're going to see here already that maybe it is better to not run the Runerigas in the back, but the Cresselia, but I did not really want to put Cresselia onto every team. While Cresselia might be better, you're going to see here, for example, a Azumarill, which you would be able to beat. Mantine would be a little bit more neutral. Gligar would be a little bit more neutral. I guess Gligar is kind of fine for Runerigas as well. Runerigas, by the way, a Pokemon that is really highly underrated in the current meta. I kind of really definitely want to make a video about this Pokemon eventually, because basically it beats nearly everything in the 2 shields, which is kind of mad. There are not really a lot of hard answers to this Pokemon, so Runerigas kind of slept on right now. But otherwise, you can also run something like Gligar as a Sales Up, and in the back you're going to have the Feraligatr, which should also still work out. But yeah, Lokix has quite a lot of decent matchups here, like the Lickitung, like the Scrafty, like even the Cresselia or the Registeel, which is kind of cool. So definitely a new addition to the meta. Moving on, Powder Snow Cetitan. This is going to be an interesting one as well here, because Pokemon is now going to be very spammy as well with the Body Slam as well as Avalanche. We're going to have a very classic line from the last season already. Again, the season is not going to change too much in terms of the teams that you're going to encounter. Basically, every single team that did not run Spark Lantern is going to be as viable this season as it was last season. They're just like small differences, which is kind of sad, to be fair. I wish there would be a little bit more going on, but it is just what it is usually for like those seasons where we have the World Championship. But anyway, here we're going to see Annihilate in the lead, Dugong Say-Stop and Cetitan in the back. If you don't want to run a Cetitan in the back, you can also run the Bastion. I encountered this team with Bastion like 20 times in my last week of the season. But yeah, this team is definitely still very solid. Dugong just a great Say-Stop currently. And Cetitan definitely kind of appreciates this team, as Dugong really baits out everything Cetitan doesn't want to face, and then Cetitan can try to sweep endgame, so that's definitely going to be a team that I also maybe want to try out as well. Here, Cetitan looks like a fun Pokemon to use, so definitely stay tuned for a showcase for this Pokemon. I really like this Pokemon. I don't know why, but I kind of really want to play this one. We're going to have Swoobat with the new move Fly, which might actually make it worse because now you take a little bit longer to get to your move before it had Aerial Ace, which is actually kind of a solid move in the current meta at least. But yeah, this Pokemon is kind of funny. I just like it a lot. It has some play for sure. It has actually some play like against Annihilate. It has still kind of decent bulk to it. It has Psychic Fangs to it. It has Confusion damage, which is really good in the current meta. I think I made a video about this as well already before. I think I did, yeah. But yeah, definitely a very interesting Pokemon. It is not going to be top meta. Again, like there's going to be a video about like top meta teams for the Great League as well the next time Great League comes around. But I kind of want to see how the meta is going to shift right now. And like for the people who kind of want to have some fun and try some new stuff out, this video is for you guys. Anyway, we have some more Swifties here. First, the Swifty team, we're going to have the Clefable. We don't really know on how Swift is going to be implemented here. This is basically a more moderate approach towards it. So here it is 40 energy. I just went for whatever PvPoke had on it. I was hoping for 35 energy. 35 energy would definitely impact the meta quite a bit, for Clefable being very, very common then. Also, Wigglytuff would be very, very strong with a 35 energy move. But we have to see, very likely that they're not gonna take that risk before the World Championship though. So I could see it also just be a 40 energy move and then kinda an okay move to use. Not like crazy good, but yeah, maybe even would rather want to go for something like a Media Mesh then. But anyway, here's kind of a team that you can run. I like Obstagoon in the back a little bit more here than the Umbreon actually. Umbreon you can also use as a Say-Swap here for sure, by the way. It might be even the better Say-Swap for this team, the Umbreon. But yeah, Obstagoon is kind of cool because of Bastion. Like Bastion would be something that's a little bit tricky if you run everything without the Obstagoon. I feel like Obstagoon has some potential. Kind of want to take a look at this Pokemon again as well. But let's move on to team number 9. Swifty 2, we're going to have here a very toxic team which I already showcased on my channel and like everybody is using now as well. I saw like a lot of comments towards it as well where people were like, why did you showcase that? Now I'm having to face this the entire time. Very toxic team that my brother used to hit rank 1 on the leaderboards with. We're going to have the Magnezone, the Wigglytuff and the Tropius here. Say-Stop depends on what you're going to encounter in the lead. Always go into the worst Pokemon basically. If you encounter something like a Whiscash in the lead, go into the Wigglytuff. If you encounter something like a Fighter in the lead, like the Annihilate, go into your Tropius instead. Tropius here, of course, with Razor Leaf, as well as, yeah, just the standard moveset for this one. If you don't have a Tropius, you can also go for Victory Bell to be even a little bit more toxic. But anyway, let's move on to team number 10. Final team for the day, the third Swift user. Here we're going to have the Ursaring having the move Shadow Claw, Close Combat, and also, of course, like Swift. By the way, what I kind of want to say for the final one as well, we don't get the update to Spark, Swift, Scald, and I think Seed Bomb like until the Monday. Like Monday, I think in the evening or something, we're gonna get the update towards those energy levels because there is a regional going on in Bologna this weekend. We don't get those updates before. We're gonna get like new moves on Pokemon, like the Thunder Punch on the Typhlosion already before, as far as I know. Just the move updates are taking a little bit longer this time around in terms of like, yeah, where like the damage and whatever gets adjusted, because I don't want to do it during the Bologna event. That's kind of what I want to say about it. But yeah, as you can see here, this is going to be the Ursaring, which is the actually, I think currently only Pokemon really that wants to use the move Swift on PvPoke with the 40 energy move. Still hope it's 35 to be fair. But yeah, that's kind of how you could use it. Annihilate in the lead kind of is going to be good against all those Steel and Ice type Pokemon. You can bait them out with the Ursaring and kind of punish them with Close Combat. And then you have the LilyKatchum on the back, which you can kind of try to save while Say-Stopping a different kind of yeah, normal type, which people maybe don't expect. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.